The last king. Never have another king after this. The only king that will happen after this person is Jesus. That's it. So when we see the abomination of desolation in Matthew 24:15, Jesus is saying, this is definitive. Because when you see this guy come into power, I'm next. When we see the abomination of desolation, we know 3.5 years from that point, within months of that period, we know that Jesus is going to come back. Scripture says no man knows the day or the hour. It doesn't say that we won't know the season. As a matter of fact, Jesus says we will know the season if we pay attention. But we know 3.5 years that this king will rule for 3.5 years. And at the end of that period, he's done. And Scripture says that Jesus himself will overthrow him and will destroy him. When it says that he'll be broken without hand, that's what it's talking about. Jesus speaks it and he's gone. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told to me, it says in verse 26, the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. So seal these things up for many days. So when you see evening and morning, it's talking about a full cycle. So in the Hebrew culture, the evening and the morning is a full day. The evening and the morning were the first day. Erev Boker. That's how it's done. Erev Boker. Erev Boker. Erev Boker. And in actual translation, it's and the evening and the morning. Not just the evening and morning. The word and is in front of each of those. Because the full cycle is and the evening and the morning, and the evening and the morning, and the evening and the morning. You just keep doing those back to back to back to back to back, right? It's this chain. And the evening and the morning, and the evening and the morning, right? So in the Jewish culture, when you're looking at their calendar, an evening to an evening is considered a full day. But if you say a morning to a morning, you're still dealing with 2 days, right? You're touching 2 days. And if you touch 2 days, it's the same thing as counting 2 days. So when we see these moving forward, remember that a day in Daniel's prophecy, as you go through Daniel's prophecies, all of his days, all of his years, I should say, are 360 days. And we can talk about how you can find that out. It's obvious in Scripture when you see it in Daniel. But all of his days are 360 day years. So when we're talking about years, it's talking about 360 day years. And a day is a year. So if we have a series of weeks, it's 7 years. If we have a day, it's a year. That's consistent all the way through Daniel. And as we go forward, it'll make more sense, but you're going to see this moving forward, all right? So by the time we're done with this, in Daniel chapter 8, what time is it? 7:30. We'll take a break. So we'll take a 10-minute break here in about 2 minutes. As we're looking at this, Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 8, we have parallels all the way through this. We have the beasts of the kingdoms. We know that the fourth beast is the last kingdom that will be on the face of the earth. We know that that kingdom has a king that's going to be charismatic. It's going to have the ability to see things, to speak things. It's going to be able to be covert, work under the covers, get things done. It's going to elevate himself. It's going to be arrogant. It's going to be proud. Why are you laughing? It's going to be arrogant. He's going to be proud. He's going to say things about himself. He's going to consider himself the Messiah. He's going to call himself the Messiah. I'm the Messiah. I'm here to save the world. He's going to end up elevating himself to the point of God, and he will be the last king that exists until Jesus comes back, and Jesus himself will overthrow him, cast his body into the flames without touching him. We'll just simply speak it and it will happen, and at that point then Jesus becomes the final king that will rule. So that's the common thread between chapter 7 and chapter 8. So far, the first 3 kingdoms have happened. We have the Babylonian Empire, which we read about in chapter 7, which was Nebuchadnezzar. That was the first one. That's not covered in chapter 8. Then we have the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire raises up into 4 kingdoms, raised by Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. Those 4 kingdoms remain to this day. There are people from those kingdoms to this day, the geographic regions we know. And out of one of those 4 kingdoms, the Antichrist will raise up. That's what we know so far from Daniel chapter 7 and Daniel chapter 8. So let's stop and take a break. Everybody get up and stretch, move around, get the blood flowing, and we'll come back in like maybe 8 minutes. Okay?